The massive crystal chandelier cast dancing shadows across the marble floor as 17-year-old Emma Sterling stood at the top of the grand staircase, her voice echoing through the mansion like thunder. "You slept with me, Dad. You actually slept with me." The words hit the elegant dinner party like a bomb. Wine glasses shattered against the floor. Women gasped and covered their mouths. Men's faces turned pale as death. The string quartet stopped playing so suddenly that the silence felt like a scream. Richard Sterling, one of the richest men in America, stood frozen at the bottom of the stairs. His face went from confused to horrified in seconds. The beautiful woman beside him, his new wife, Catherine, stumbled backward like she'd been slapped. "Emma, what are you saying?" Richard's voice cracked like a teenager's. That's impossible." But Emma wasn't done. Her designer dress was torn at the shoulder, her makeup smeared with tears that looked real enough to fool anyone. She pointed a shaking finger down at her father. "Don't lie anymore. Everyone needs to know what kind of monster you really are." The 60 guests, politicians, celebrities, business leaders, all stared in complete shock. Cell phones appeared everywhere, recording everything. This wasn't just family drama. This was about to become the biggest scandal in the country. But how did we get here? How did a perfect family dinner turn into a nightmare that would destroy everything the Sterling family had built? To understand that, we need to go back to where it all started. 3 weeks earlier, when Emma Sterling's world began falling apart in ways she never saw coming. 3 weeks earlier, Emma Sterling had everything a teenager could want. She lived in a mansion with 27 rooms. She had her own personal chef, 3 different cars to choose from, and a credit card with no limit. Her closet was bigger than most people's bedrooms, filled with clothes that cost more than what most families made in a year. But Emma felt empty inside. She sat in her enormous bedroom, staring out the window at the perfectly manicured gardens below. Her father was somewhere in the house, probably in his office, making another billion-dollar deal. He was always making deals, always working, always too busy for her. "Miss Emma?" A soft voice came from the doorway. It was Maria, the family's head housekeeper who had been with them since Emma was little. Maria was more like a mother to Emma than her real mother had ever been. Emma's real mother had died in a car accident when Emma was only 5 years old. She barely remembered her, just flashes of a woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile. After that, it had just been Emma and her father for 12 long years. "Yes, Maria?" Emma turned around, trying to smile. "Your father wants to see you in his office. He says it's important." Emma's heart jumped a little. Her father rarely asked to see her unless she was in trouble or he had some big announcement. She followed Maria down the long hallway, past paintings worth millions of dollars and sculptures from ancient Rome. Richard Sterling's office was like a museum. The walls were covered with awards, photos of him with presidents and kings, and newspaper headlines about his business deals. Behind his massive desk hung a portrait of Emma's mother, the only soft thing in the entire room. "Sit down, sweetheart," Richard said, not looking up from his computer. He was typing furiously, probably working on 10 different deals at once. Emma sat in the leather chair across from his desk and waited, and waited, and waited some more. Finally, Richard looked up. At 52, he was still handsome in a sharp, dangerous way. His gray hair was perfectly styled. His suit probably cost more than a car, and his eyes were the same ice blue as Emma's. "I have some news," he said, his voice businesslike. "I'm getting married." The words hit Emma like a punch to the stomach. "What?" "Her name is Catherine Walsh. She's 34, very intelligent, very beautiful. We met at a charity event last month, and I proposed to her yesterday. She said yes." Emma felt the room spinning around her. But you never even told me you were dating someone." "I don't need to report my personal life to you, Emma. You're my daughter, not my wife." The coldness in his voice made Emma want to cry, but she'd learned long ago not to cry in front of her father. He saw tears as weakness. "When is the wedding?" she asked quietly. 3 weeks from today. It will be here at the house. About 60 guests, business associates, some friends. Nothing too big. 3 weeks. Emma's voice came out as a squeak. That's so fast. When you know what you want, there's no point in waiting, Richard said, already turning back to his computer. Catherine will be moving in tomorrow. She'll be decorating the house, making some changes. I expect you to be respectful and welcoming. Emma felt like she was drowning. First, her father was marrying a woman she'd never even met. Second, this stranger was going to come into their house and change everything. Third, she was finding out about all of this like it was just another business deal. Dad, can we talk about this? I mean, really talk. We are talking, Emma. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Catherine moves in tomorrow. End of discussion. And just like that, Emma was dismissed. She stood up on shaky legs and walked to the door, hoping her father would call her back. Tell her he was sorry for springing this on her. Maybe ask how she felt about it. But he didn't. He just kept typing on his computer like she had never been there at all. Emma ran to her room and threw herself on her bed. She wanted to scream, but she knew no one would hear her in this huge house. She wanted to call someone, but she didn't have any real friends. When you're the daughter of a billionaire, it's hard to know who likes you for you and who likes you for your money. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about her mother, wondering what she would have said about all this. Would she have been happy that Richard was moving on? Or would she have been worried about Emma, like Emma was worried about herself? Around midnight, Emma heard a car in the driveway. She looked out her window and saw her father getting out of his black Bentley. But he wasn't alone. A woman stepped out of the passenger side, tall, blonde, wearing a dress that probably cost more than most people's cars. Catherine Walsh. Even from far away, Emma could see that Catherine was beautiful. Model beautiful. The kind of beautiful that made other women feel ugly just by standing near her. Emma watched as her father put his arm around Catherine's waist and led her toward the house. They were laughing about something, looking happy and relaxed. Emma couldn't remember the last time she'd seen her father look that happy. A terrible thought crept into Emma's mind. What if Catherine made her father so happy that he didn't need Emma anymore? What if Catherine wanted to get rid of her? What if this was the beginning of the end of the only family Emma had left? She was about to find out sooner than she thought. The next morning, Emma woke up to voices in the hallway outside her room. One was her father's deep voice, and the other was light and musical, definitely Catherine. This hallway is so dark, Catherine was saying. We need to brighten it up. Maybe some modern art instead of all these old paintings. Whatever you think is best, Richard replied. This is your home now too. Emma felt sick. Catherine had been in the house for less than 12 hours and she was already changing things. Those old paintings had been chosen by Emma's mother. Emma got dressed quickly and went downstairs to the kitchen, hoping to grab some breakfast and escape before running into the happy couple. But she was too late. Catherine was sitting at the kitchen island, sipping coffee from Emma's mother's favorite mug, a simple white cup with "World's Best Mom" painted on it in child's handwriting. Emma had made it for her mother in kindergarten, just months before the accident. Oh! Catherine jumped up when she saw Emma. You must be Emma. I'm Catherine, your father's fiancée. I'm so excited to meet you. Catherine was even more beautiful up close. She had perfect blonde hair, perfect white teeth, and perfect green eyes. She looked like she belonged in a magazine, not in Emma's kitchen, drinking from her mother's mug. Hi, Emma said quietly, staring at the mug. Catherine followed her gaze and looked down at the cup in her hands. Oh, is this special? I just grabbed the first mug I saw. I can use a different one if... It's fine, Emma lied. She couldn't make a scene about a coffee mug. That would make her look like a bratty kid. Your father told me so much about you, Catherine continued, her smile bright and fake. He says you're very smart, very independent. I was hoping we could be friends. It would mean so much to me to have your approval. Emma just nodded, not trusting herself to speak. Catherine seemed nice enough, but something felt wrong. Maybe it was the way Catherine's eyes didn't match her smile. Or maybe it was the way she kept looking around the kitchen like she was already planning how to change it. Emma, come sit with us, Richard said, appearing in the doorway. He looked more relaxed than Emma had seen him in years. Catherine was just telling me about her ideas for redecorating. Oh yes. Catherine's eyes lit up. This house is beautiful, but it's so formal, so old-fashioned. I think we could make it more modern, more fun. What do you think, Emma? Emma looked around the kitchen at the copper pots her mother had chosen, at the family photos on the refrigerator, at the little herb garden by the window that Maria had helped her plant in memory of her mother. I like it the way it is, Emma said quietly. An awkward silence filled the room. Catherine's smile flickered for just a second, and Emma caught a glimpse of something cold in those perfect green eyes. Well, Catherine said, her voice still sweet, but with an edge Emma's father didn't seem to notice. I'm sure we can find a way to blend old and new. After all, this will be my home too now. The way she said my home made Emma's skin crawl. This wasn't Catherine's home. This was Emma's home. This was her mother's home. But looking at her father's face, Emma realized that Richard didn't see it that way anymore. To him, Catherine was the future and Emma was just part of the old life he was ready to leave behind. That night, Emma lay in bed listening to voices from her father's room down the hall. She couldn't make out the words, but she could hear the tone, intimate, happy, romantic. Her father was in love, maybe for the first time since her mother died. And Emma had never felt more alone in her life. Over the next few days, Catherine moved more of her things into the house. Expensive furniture appeared in the living room. New paintings went up on the walls. The old family photos slowly disappeared, replaced by modern art that looked like someone had sneezed paint on canvas. Emma watched it all happen like she was watching her life get erased. Miss Emma, Maria said one afternoon, finding Emma sitting in the garden behind the house. Are you okay? You seem sad. Maria was the only person in the world who really cared about Emma's feelings. She was 55 years old, with kind brown eyes and graying hair that she always wore in a neat bun. She had raised her own 4 children while also helping to raise Emma. I don't like her, Emma admitted. I know I should be happy for Dad, but I don't like Catherine. Why not Mija? Maria sat down on the garden bench beside Emma. She's changing everything. Mom's things, Mom's house. It's like she wants to erase every trace of Mom. Maria was quiet for a moment. Your father has been lonely for a long time, she said finally. Maybe he needs this. But what about what I need? Emma's voice cracked. I need my mom's things. I need this house to still feel like home. I need my father to care about me as much as he cares about her. Maria put her arm around Emma's shoulders. He does care about you, Mija. Men don't always know how to show it. But Emma wasn't so sure. That evening at dinner, Richard and Catherine talked about their honeymoon plans, 2 weeks in Italy, their future together, maybe buying a house in France, and their wedding. Catherine wanted white roses everywhere. Emma might as well have been invisible. Emma, you're being very quiet, Catherine said suddenly, turning her bright smile toward her. Are you excited about being my maid of honor? Emma nearly choked on her water. You're what? Your maid of honor, Catherine repeated. I don't have any sisters, and I want us to be like family. It would mean so much to me if you'd stand beside me on my wedding day. Emma looked at her father, hoping he would say something, anything to get her out of this. But Richard was smiling like this was the most wonderful idea in the world. That's perfect, he said. My 2 favorite girls, together on the most important day of my life. Emma felt trapped. If she said no, she'd look like a spoiled brat. If she said yes, she'd have to help Catherine marry her father, stand there and smile while her old life officially ended. Okay, Emma said finally. Catherine clapped her hands together. Oh, this is wonderful. We'll go dress shopping tomorrow. I have the perfect place in mind, very exclusive, very expensive. Your father said money is no object. Of course he did. Money was never an object when it came to Catherine. But Emma remembered when she'd asked for a school trip to Europe last year, and her father had said it was too extravagant. After dinner, Emma escaped to her room, but she could still hear Catherine and her father talking and laughing downstairs. It felt like they were building a wall around themselves, and Emma was on the outside looking in. She pulled out her laptop and did something she'd never done before. She Googled Catherine Walsh. What she found made her blood run cold. Catherine Walsh had been married before. Twice, actually. Both times to very rich, much older men. Both marriages had ended in messy divorces where Catherine had walked away with millions of dollars. Emma read article after article about Catherine's past. The first husband, a tech billionaire, had accused Catherine of having affairs during their marriage. The second husband, a real estate mogul, claimed Catherine had tried to turn his children against him. In every photo, Catherine looked exactly the same, beautiful, perfect, and completely cold behind her magazine smile. Emma's hands were shaking as she scrolled through more search results. There were rumors about Catherine, whispers that she was a gold digger who targeted lonely widowers and divorced men with lots of money and children who might inherit it. Emma screenshot everything and saved it to a private folder on her computer. She didn't know what she was going to do with this information, but she knew she had to keep it. The next morning, Catherine knocked on Emma's bedroom door bright and early. "Ready for our shopping trip?" Catherine asked, breezing into the room without waiting for an answer. She was wearing a designer outfit that probably cost more than Maria's yearly salary. Emma wanted to tell Catherine what she'd found, wanted to ask her about her ex-husbands and the rumors, but something in Catherine's eyes warned her to be careful. "Sure," Emma said instead. "Let me just get dressed." "Wear something nice," Catherine said, looking Emma up and down critically. "The boutique we're going to is very upscale. First impressions matter." The boutique was the kind of place where they served champagne while you shopped, and the sales assistants called everyone darling. Catherine was clearly a regular customer. Everyone knew her name and treated her like royalty. "We need something special for my maid of honor," Catherine announced to the head sales assistant. "Something that will complement my dress without competing with it, if you know what I mean." Emma knew exactly what she meant. Catherine wanted Emma to look nice enough not to embarrass her, but not so nice that she'd upstage the bride. They tried on dress after dress. Catherine rejected most of them for various reasons: too bright, too attention-grabbing, too young-looking. Finally, she settled on a pale pink dress that washed out Emma's complexion and made her look like a little girl playing dress-up. "Perfect," Catherine declared. "Pink is such a sweet color for someone your age." Emma stared at herself in the mirror. The dress was beautiful and expensive, but it wasn't her at all. It was Catherine's version of who Emma should be: quiet, invisible, grateful for whatever scraps of attention she received. "I don't really like pink," Emma said quietly. Catherine's smile didn't waver, but her eyes flashed with something dangerous. "Oh, but it looks so lovely on you. And pink is perfect for a spring wedding. Trust me, darling, I have excellent taste." The sales assistant nodded eagerly. "Ms. Walsh is right, dear. The pink is absolutely perfect for your coloring." Emma felt ganged up on, surrounded by adults who were all telling her what she should want, what she should like, who she should be. It was a feeling she was getting used to. As they left the boutique, Catherine linked her arm through Emma's like they were best friends. "I'm so glad we did this together," Catherine said. "I never had a daughter, and I'm excited to learn how to be a good stepmother. I want us to be close, Emma. Really close." But something in the way Catherine said "close" made Emma's skin crawl. It didn't sound loving. It sounded possessive, like Catherine was claiming ownership of Emma the same way she was claiming ownership of the house, the furniture, and Emma's father. That evening, Emma tried to talk to her father alone. She waited until Catherine went upstairs to take a bath, then knocked on his office door. "Dad, can we talk?" Richard looked up from his laptop. "Make it quick, sweetheart. I have a conference call with Tokyo in 20 minutes. Emma took a deep breath. "I did some research on Catherine." Richard's expression immediately went cold. "What kind of research?" "I looked her up online. Dad, she's been married twice before. Both times to rich older men, and both marriages ended badly. Her ex-husbands said terrible things about her." "Emma," Richard's voice was like ice. "I cannot believe you would do something so disrespectful. Catherine told me about both of her previous marriages. Her first husband was abusive, and her second husband was an alcoholic who tried to blame her for his problems. She's been through enough without my own daughter spreading gossip about her. Emma felt like she'd been slapped. Dad, I'm not spreading gossip. I'm trying to protect you. What if she's only marrying you for your money? Richard stood up, his face red with anger. That's enough. I don't want to hear another word against Catherine. She makes me happy, Emma. Happier than I've been since your mother died. If you can't be supportive, then maybe you should think about whether you want to be part of this family. The words hit Emma like a physical blow. Her own father was choosing Catherine over her, threatening to cut her out of the family if she didn't fall in line. I love you, Dad. I don't want to see you get hurt. But Richard had already turned back to his computer. My conference call is starting. We'll discuss your attitude later. Emma left the office feeling more aloe. Upstairs, she could hear Catherine humming in the bathroom, probably planning how she was going to spend the sterling fortune after she married into it. Emma made a decision that night. If her father wouldn't listen to reason, maybe she'd have to find another way to protect him, and protect herself. She just didn't know yet how far she'd have to go. The wedding was now just 2 weeks away, and the house was in chaos. Wedding planners came and went, caterers tested recipes in the kitchen, and florists filled every room with white roses, Catherine's favorite. Emma felt like a ghost in her own home. No one asked her opinion about anything. No one seemed to notice when she left a room or entered it. She was just part of the background now, like the furniture Catherine hadn't bothered to replace yet. But Emma was watching everything, and what she saw made her more worried every day. Catherine had started making little comments about Emma to Richard. Nothing obvious, nothing that would sound mean to an outsider, but Emma could hear the poison underneath. Emma seems so sad lately, Catherine would say with fake concern. Maybe she needs to talk to someone professional? I know a wonderful therapist who specializes in teenagers with adjustment issues. Or, I hope Emma isn't developing an eating disorder. She barely touched her dinner again. Maybe she's jealous of our happiness. Each comment was like a tiny knife, designed to make Richard see Emma as a problem that needed to be solved, rather than a daughter who needed love and support. And it was working. Richard started looking at Emma differently, like she was a puzzle he couldn't figure out instead of the little girl he used to read bedtime stories to. Emma tried to spend more time with Maria, the only person in the house who still treated her like family. They would sit in the garden together, and Maria would tell Emma stories about her own children and grandchildren. Miss Emma, Maria said one afternoon, I need to tell you something important. Emma looked up from the book she was pretending to read. What is it? Miss Catherine asked me to start packing up your mother's things. She wants to redecorate the master bedroom, and she says the old photos and jewelry are how did she put it? Too melancholy for a newlywed couple. Emma felt like she couldn't breathe. She wants to get rid of Mom's things? She didn't say get rid of them. She said pack them away, put them in storage. But Emma, Maria's voice was heavy with worry. I've worked for rich families for 30 years. When they put things in storage, those things have a way of disappearing forever. That night, Emma snuck into her father's bedroom while he and Catherine were at a dinner party. She wanted to see her mother's things one more time before Catherine made them disappear. The room still looked mostly the same. The same furniture, the same curtains her mother had chosen. But Emma could see the changes Catherine was planning. There were fabric samples on the dresser, paint chips taped to the walls, and a notebook full of Catherine's handwriting describing how she wanted to modernize the space. Emma opened her mother's jewelry box, the one that played Moon River, when you lifted the lid. Inside were all the pieces Emma remembered: her mother's wedding ring, which Richard had stopped wearing years ago, pearl earrings, a sapphire necklace that had belonged to Emma's grandmother. At the bottom of the box was something Emma had never seen before. A small, sealed envelope with, "For Emma," written on it in her mother's handwriting. Emma's hands shook as she opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, written in the flowing script she remembered from birthday cards and school lunch notes. My darling Emma, the letter began. If you're reading this, then something has happened to me. and you're probably feeling very alone right now. I want you to know that you are the most important thing in the world to me, and nothing will ever change that. I'm writing this because I'm worried about what might happen to you if I'm not there to protect you. Your father is a good man, but he doesn't always see people for who they really are. He trusts too easily, especially when someone makes him feel young and desired again. If he ever remarries, I want you to remember that you are his daughter. You were here first. You have rights in this family that no one can take away from you, no matter what anyone tries to tell you. I've left something for you in my safe deposit box at First National Bank. The key is taped under the bottom drawer of this jewelry box. Whatever happens, don't let anyone else know about it. This is just between you and me. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. Forever your mother, Sarah Sterling. Emma read the letter 3 times before the words really sank in. Her mother had known. Somehow, she had known that Emma might need protection someday. Emma found the key exactly where her mother said it would be. A small silver key taped under the bottom drawer of the jewelry box. She slipped it into her pocket just as she heard voices in the driveway. Richard and Catherine were home. Emma quickly put everything back the way she'd found it and snuck out of the room. But as she was closing the door, she heard Catherine's voice in the hallway. I'm telling you, Richard, that girl gives me the creeps. The way she looks at me, like she's planning something. Maybe we should send her to boarding school after the wedding. Switzerland has some excellent schools for troubled teenagers. Emma pressed herself against the wall, her heart pounding. She's just adjusting, Richard replied, but he sounded uncertain. This is a big change for her. It's a big change for all of us. But I'm not sulking around like the world owes me something. Honestly, Richard, I think your daughter has some serious issues. The sooner we get her professional help, the better. Emma closed her eyes, feeling the walls closing in around her. Catherine was already planning to get rid of her, just like she was planning to get rid of her mother's things. And Richard was starting to believe that Emma was the problem. Emma clutched her mother's key in her pocket. Tomorrow, she would go to the bank and find out what her mother had left for her. Maybe it would be something that could help her fight back. Maybe it would be something that could save her family before Catherine destroyed it completely. But Emma had no idea that her mother's final gift would set in motion a chain of events that would lead to the most shocking moment of her life. Standing at the top of those stairs, accusing her father of the unthinkable, while 60 witnesses watched in horror. The key in her pocket felt like it was burning through her jeans. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, Emma Sterling would discover a secret that would turn her world upside down and give her a weapon more powerful than she ever imagined. But tonight, she was still just a scared 17-year-old girl, trying to save the only family she had left from a woman who smiled like an angel but had the heart of a devil. And the clock was ticking toward a wedding that Emma was becoming more and more determined to stop. Emma barely slept that night. She kept feeling the small silver key in her pajama pocket, wondering what her mother could have possibly left in a safe deposit box that was just between you and me. At 7 a.m., she was already dressed and waiting by the front door when the bank opened. She told Maria she was going for a walk, which wasn't technically a lie. The bank was only 6 blocks away from the Sterling mansion. First National Bank was old and fancy, with marble floors and brass fixtures that gleamed like gold. Emma had never been inside alone before. Usually, when she needed banking services, Richard's assistant handled everything. "Can I help you?" asked a woman behind the customer service desk. She looked at Emma suspiciously, probably wondering what a teenager was doing in a bank so early in the morning. "I need to access a safe deposit box," Emma said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. "Box number 247. It belonged to my mother, Sarah Sterling." The woman's expression changed immediately when she heard the Sterling name. Everyone in town knew who the Sterlings were. "Of course, dear. I'll need to see some identification and verify that you're authorized to access the box." Emma's heart sank. She hadn't thought about authorization. What if her mother hadn't put her name on the account? What if she couldn't get into the box? But when the woman looked up the account information, she smiled. "You're all set, Miss Sterling. Your mother added you as an authorized user when you turned 16. Right this way. They went down to the basement vault, where rows and rows of metal boxes lined the walls. The woman used Emma's key and her own master key to open box 247. Take all the time you need, the woman said, leaving Emma alone in the small private room. Emma's hands were shaking as she opened the metal box. Inside, she found 3 things that would change her life forever. The first was a thick manila envelope stuffed with papers. The second was a small digital camera. The third was a note in her mother's handwriting that said, Emma, if you're reading this, then you need to know the truth about your father's business. Use this information wisely and only if you have no other choice. I love you, Mom. Emma opened the manila envelope first. Inside were dozens of documents, bank statements, business contracts, photographs, and what looked like surveillance reports. As Emma read through them, she felt sick to her stomach. Her father wasn't just a successful businessman. He was involved in things that were definitely illegal and possibly dangerous. Money laundering, bribery, tax evasion, connections to people who did very bad things to anyone who crossed them. The bank statements showed millions of dollars moving through secret accounts. The photographs showed her father meeting with men who looked like they belonged in scary movies. The surveillance reports detailed years of criminal activity that could send Richard Sterling to prison for the rest of his life. Emma's mother had been investigating Richard's illegal business activities before she died. The car accident that killed her might not have been an accident at all. But the most shocking discovery was in a sealed envelope marked, Urgent. Only open if Richard remarries. Inside was a report from a private investigator that made Emma's blood run cold. Catherine Walsh wasn't just a gold digger who married rich men for money. She was something much worse. She worked for Richard's criminal associates. Her job was to marry him, gain his trust, and then help them take over his entire criminal empire. Catherine's first 2 husbands hadn't divorced her. They had both died in accidents, after changing their wills to leave everything to their beautiful young wives. Catherine had been married not twice, but 4 times. The other 2 husbands had also died mysteriously, and Catherine had inherited everything. Catherine Walsh was a professional killer who used marriage as her weapon. And in less than 2 weeks, she was going to become Emma's stepmother. Emma felt like she was going to throw up. Her father wasn't just in danger of losing his money. He was in danger of losing his life. And if Catherine saw Emma as a threat to her plan, Emma might be in danger too. Emma picked up the small digital camera with trembling hands. When she turned it on, she found hundreds of photos and video files. Her mother had been documenting Richard's criminal activities for months before her death, probably planning to turn him in to the police or use the evidence to force him to go straight. But she had died before she could do anything with the information. Now it was up to Emma to decide what to do with this terrible knowledge. She could go to the police, but that would mean sending her father to prison and destroying the only family she had left. She could confront her father directly, but he probably wouldn't believe her. He was too blinded by love for Catherine to see the truth. Or she could use the information as a weapon against Catherine. Emma made copies of everything on the small printer in the bank's customer service area. She put the originals back in the safe deposit box and took the copies home, her mind racing with possibilities. When she got back to the house, she could hear Catherine and Richard in the kitchen, talking about final wedding preparations. The caterers want to do a final tasting tomorrow, Catherine was saying. And the florist needs to know if we want the roses in the centerpieces to be exactly the same height or varied for visual interest. They sounded so normal, so happy. It was hard to believe that one of them was a criminal and the other was a professional killer. Emma went to her room and spread all the documents out on her bed. She had evidence that could destroy both of them, but she needed a plan. She needed to find a way to save her father without destroying him. That's when she noticed something in one of the surveillance photos that made her heart stop. In the background of a photo showing Richard meeting with dangerous criminals, Emma could see a figure watching from the shadows. Someone had been following Richard, photographing him, gathering evidence. That someone was Catherine Walsh. Catherine had been spying on Richard long before they met at that charity event. She had been studying him, learning his routines, planning her approach. Their entire romance was fake. Emma finally had proof that Catherine was not who she claimed to be. But as Emma stared at the photo, she realized something terrible. If Catherine had been watching Richard for months, then Catherine probably knew that Sarah Sterling had been investigating too. Which meant Catherine might have arranged for Sarah's accident. Catherine might have murdered Emma's mother. Emma felt rage building inside her like a fire. This woman had destroyed her family, stolen her father, and now she was planning to kill him too. And there was a good chance she had already killed Emma's mother. Emma wasn't going to let Catherine get away with it. But Emma was 17 years old, with no experience in dealing with professional criminals. She needed help, and she knew exactly who to ask. Marcus Rivera had been the Sterling family's security chief for 5 years. He was an ex-police detective who had left the force after getting too close to some of Richard's illegal activities. Emma had always liked Marcus. He was one of the few adults who treated her like a real person instead of just Richard Sterling's daughter. Emma found Marcus in the security office in the basement of the house, monitoring the cameras that watched every entrance and exit. "Marcus, I need to talk to you about something important," she said, closing the door behind her. Marcus looked up from the monitors. He was a big man with kind eyes and gray hair that made him look like someone's grandfather. "What's on your mind, kiddo?" Emma took a deep breath and pulled out the copies of her mother's documents. "I found some things that belong to my mom, things about my father's business, and things about Catherine." Marcus's expression became very serious as Emma showed him the evidence. He studied each document carefully, his face growing darker and darker. "Jesus, Emma," he whispered finally. "Where did you get all this?" Emma told him about the safe deposit box and her mother's letter. Marcus listened without interrupting, occasionally looking at the documents again like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Your mother was a smart woman," Marcus said finally, "and a brave one. She knew how dangerous this information was." "Marcus, I think Catherine killed my mother. And I think she's planning to kill my father too." Marcus was quiet for a long time. "Emma, what you're suggesting? These are very serious accusations. If you're right, then we're dealing with someone extremely dangerous." "I know. That's why I need your help. We have to stop the wedding." Marcus shook his head. "It's not that simple. Look, I've had my own suspicions about Catherine. Something about her didn't feel right. But your father is completely under her spell. Even if we showed him this evidence, he might not believe it. Love makes smart people do stupid things. Then what do we do?" Marcus studied the documents again. "We need more evidence. Something that directly connects Catherine to your mother's death or proves she's planning to hurt your father. These documents prove your father is involved in illegal activities, but they don't prove Catherine is a killer." Emma felt frustrated. "But the private investigator's report could be fake," Marcus interrupted. "Catherine is smart, Emma. If she's really a professional killer, she wouldn't leave evidence lying around. We need something concrete, something undeniable. The wedding is in 10 days, Marcus. We don't have time to build a case." Marcus looked at Emma with something like admiration. "You're just like your mother, you know that? Brave and stubborn and willing to fight for what's right, even when it's dangerous. Will you help me?" Marcus sighed heavily. "Against my better judgment, yes. But we do this my way, Emma. Norecles heroics. We gather evidence carefully and quietly. And if things get too dangerous, we call in the FBI and let them handle it." "Agreed. First, I'm going to run Catherine's fingerprints through the police database. If she's really a professional killer, there might be records under different names. Second, I'm going to put hidden cameras in the master bedroom and Richard's office. If Catherine is planning something, maybe we can catch her in the act." Emma felt a surge of hope. Finally, someone believed her. Finally, someone was going to help her save her father. But as they made their plans, neither Emma nor Marcus realized that Catherine had already noticed their suspicious behavior. Professional killers didn't stay alive by being careless or unobservant. And Catherine Walsh had survived longer than most by always staying one step ahead of anyone who tried to stop her. Over the next 3 days, Marcus worked on gathering evidence while Emma tried to act normal around Catherine and her father. It was the hardest thing she'd ever done. Sitting at dinner with a woman who might have murdered her mother, smiling and making small talk about wedding flowers and honeymoon plans. Catherine seemed to be watching Emma more closely than usual. Several times, Emma caught Catherine staring at her with those cold green eyes, like she was trying to figure out what Emma was thinking. "You seem distracted lately, Emma," Catherine said on Wednesday evening as they ate dinner. "Are you feeling all right?" "I'm fine," Emma replied, not trusting herself to say more. "Maybe she's nervous about being maid of honor," Richard suggested. "It's a big responsibility." "Oh, I'm sure Emma will do beautifully," Catherine said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "She's such a responsible girl." The way Catherine said responsible made it sound like a threat. That night, Marcus knocked on Emma's bedroom door with news. "I ran Catherine's fingerprints," he said quietly. "She's not in the system under Catherine Walsh, but I found matches under 3 other names: Margaret Collins, Christine Waters, and Carol Whitman. All 3 identities have been used in cities where wealthy men died under suspicious circumstances." Emma felt vindicated but terrified. "So she really is a killer." "It looks that way, but Emma, professional killers don't hesitate to eliminate threats, and if she suspects you know something—" "She already suspects," Emma admitted. "I can tell by the way she looks at me." Marcus swore under his breath. "We need to move faster. I've installed the hidden cameras, but we need Catherine to do something incriminating on tape. Something that proves she's planning to hurt your father." "What if we can't get that evidence in time?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Then we might have to take more drastic action." "What do you mean?" "I mean we might have to stop the wedding by exposing your father's criminal activities to the FBI. It would mean Richard goes to prison, but at least he'd be alive." Emma felt like she was trapped in a nightmare with no good choices. Save her father from Catherine by sending him to prison, or let him marry a woman who would probably kill him within a year. "There has to be another way," Emma whispered. "Maybe there is," Marcus said slowly. "But it would be dangerous for you. Very dangerous." "Tell me." Marcus hesitated. "We could set a trap. Make Catherine think you're a threat that needs to be eliminated immediately. If she tries to hurt you, we'd have her on camera attempting murder. That would be enough evidence to stop the wedding and put her in prison." Emma felt cold all over. "You want to use me as bait. I want to give you the choice. I won't let anything happen to you, Emma. I'll be watching every second, ready to step in. But it's risky." Emma thought about her mother's letter, about Catherine's cold eyes, about her father's happiness that was built on lies and would end in his death. "Let's do it." Marcus looked like he immediately regretted suggesting it. "Emma, maybe we should think about this more."
"No."
"Catherine killed my mother, and she's planning to kill my father. Someone has to stop her, and it looks like that someone is me." Marcus studied Emma's face and saw something that reminded him of Sarah Sterling, a quiet determination that couldn't be shaken. "All right," he said finally, "but we do this exactly as I plan it.
No improvising, no heroics."
You follow my instructions to the letter." "I will. We'll set the trap tomorrow night. The wedding is in 6 days, so Catherine will be feeling pressure to eliminate any threats before then." Emma nodded, trying to look braver than she felt. She was about to deliberately make herself a target for a professional killer. It was either the stupidest thing she'd ever done, or the only way to save her father's life. Either way, there was no turning back now. The next evening, Marcus and Emma put their plan into action. Marcus had placed hidden cameras throughout the house and positioned himself in the security office where he could watch everything and respond quickly if Emma was in danger. Emma's job was to make Catherine believe she knew the truth and was planning to expose her at the wedding. At dinner, Emma waited until Richard excused himself to take a business call, leaving her alone with Catherine. "Catherine?" Emma said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I know who you really are." Catherine's fork paused halfway to her mouth. "I'm sorry, what did you say?" "I know about Margaret Collins, Christine Waters, and Carol Whitman. I know about your other husbands and what happened to them. And I know what you're planning to do to my father." Catherine set down her fork very carefully. Her perfect smile was gone, replaced by an expression that was absolutely terrifying in its coldness. "That's quite an imagination you have, Emma." "It's not imagination. I have proof. Documents, photographs, evidence that connects you to at least 4 murders. Did you really think no one would ever figure it out?" Catherine stood up slowly, moving around the table toward Emma like a predator stalking its prey. "Even if what you're saying were true," Catherine said softly, "who would believe a troubled teenager with obvious psychological issues? Your father already thinks you need professional help. It wouldn't be hard to convince him that you've had a complete breakdown." Emma forced herself to stay calm, even as Catherine moved closer. "I'm not the only one who knows. I've shared everything with people who won't dismiss it as teenage fantasy." Catherine's eyes flashed with real anger. "You little bitch. Do you have any idea what you're messing with? A murderer who's about to be exposed at her own wedding." Catherine laughed, but it was a sound like breaking glass. "Oh, Emma, you have no idea how many people have tried to expose me over the years. They all learned that it's very dangerous to threaten someone like me." "Is that what happened to my mother? Did she threaten you?" Catherine's smile turned genuinely cruel. "Your mother was too smart for her own good. She should have minded her own business." Emma felt rage and grief crashing over her, but she forced herself to stay in character. "So you did kill her. I solved a problem, just like I'm about to solve another problem." Catherine reached into her purse and pulled out a small bottle filled with clear liquid. "This is going to go in your bedtime tea tonight," Catherine said, showing Emma the bottle. "It's odorless, tasteless, and will cause what appears to be a seizure followed by cardiac arrest. Very sad when teenagers have undiagnosed heart conditions." Emma's blood turned to ice. This was really happening. Catherine was actually planning to kill her tonight. "The best part is that your father will be so devastated by your death that he'll need me more than ever. Grief makes people so dependent, so easy to manipulate." Emma stood up slowly, backing toward the door. "You're insane.
I'm practical.
And you, my dear stepdaughter, are about to become a very sad footnote in your father's life." Catherine moved toward Emma, still holding the bottle of poison. Emma could see the madness in her eyes now. This woman had killed so many people that it meant nothing to her anymore. Emma turned and ran toward the stairs, with Catherine following close behind. As she reached the top of the staircase, Emma could hear her father's voice from his office, still on his business call, completely unaware that his daughter was running for her life. Catherine caught up with Emma at the top of the stairs, grabbing her arm with surprising strength. "You should have minded your own business, just like your mother should have," Catherine hissed. Emma tried to pull away, but Catherine's grip was like iron. They struggled at the top of the staircase, Emma fighting for her life while Catherine tried to force the poison down her throat. That's when Emma heard voices from downstairs. Her father's business call had ended, and people were arriving for some kind of meeting. Emma could hear multiple voices, including some she recognized as her father's business associates. In desperation, Emma did the only thing she could think of. She screamed at the top of her lungs, loud enough for everyone downstairs to hear. "You slept with me, Dad. You actually slept with me." The effect was immediate and devastating. The voices downstairs fell silent, then erupted in shocked gasps and urgent whispers. Emma could hear footsteps rushing toward the staircase. Catherine's grip loosened in surprise, and Emma broke free, running down the stairs toward the crowd of people who were now staring up at her in complete shock. Emma knew her accusation was a lie, knew it would destroy her father's reputation and probably their relationship forever. But it was the only thing she could think of that would create enough chaos and attention to save her life. As she reached the bottom of the stairs, Emma saw her father's face, confused, horrified, and completely betrayed. Behind him stood a dozen business associates and their wives, all staring at Emma like she was a monster. Catherine appeared at the top of the stairs, still holding the bottle of poison, her perfect facade finally cracking to reveal the killer underneath. "Don't listen to her," Catherine screamed, She's having a psychotic break. She's been threatening to hurt herself, to hurt your reputation if you didn't cancel the wedding. But Marcus had been watching everything from the security office. And now he came running into the room with a laptop showing the video footage of Catherine threatening Emma with poison. "Nobody move!" Marcus shouted, his gun drawn. "Catherine Walsh, you're under arrest for the attempted murder of Emma Sterling and conspiracy to commit murder." The room erupted in chaos. Catherine tried to run, but Marcus tackled her before she could reach the door. The bottle of poison shattered on the marble floor, its deadly contents spreading in a clear puddle that could have been Emma's death sentence. As the police sirens wailed in the distance and Catherine screamed threats from underneath Marcus's restraining hold, Emma stood in the middle of the wreckage of her father's dinner party, surrounded by broken glass and broken lives. She had saved her father's life and exposed Catherine's plan. But in doing so, she had destroyed everything else: her father's reputation, his business relationships, their family bond, and any chance of a normal life. Richard Sterling stood frozen, staring at his daughter like he'd never seen her before. The accusation she'd made would follow them both forever, even though it was a lie told in desperation. Emma had won the battle against Catherine, but in the process, she might have lost the war for her father's love. As the police burst through the front door and Catherine was dragged away in handcuffs, Emma realized that her real fight was just beginning, because now she had to find a way to rebuild her relationship with her father and explain why she had chosen to destroy his reputation in order to save his life. And she wasn't sure that was a battle she could win. Emma has successfully exposed Catherine as a killer and saved her father's life, but at a terrible cost. Her desperate accusation has created a scandal that will follow the Sterling family forever. Now, as Catherine is arrested and the truth comes out, Emma must face the consequences of her actions and try to repair the damage she's done to her relationship with her father. The final chapter will reveal the full aftermath of Emma's shocking accusation, show how the Sterling family deals with the scandal and the truth about Catherine, and determine whether Emma and her father can find their way back to each other after everything that's happened. The police station was chaos. News vans lined the street outside. Reporters shouted questions at anyone who walked by, and camera flashes lit up the night like lightning. Emma sat in a small interview room, wrapped in a blanket that smelled like disinfectant, telling her story for the third time to Detective Sarah Martinez. Marcus sat beside her, and her father's lawyer, Mr. Henderson, took notes furiously. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," Detective Martinez said, looking over her notes. "You accused your father of sleeping with you because you were being threatened by Catherine Walsh, who you believe murdered your mother and was planning to murder your father?" "Yes," Emma said, her voice hoarse from talking for hours. "I know how crazy it sounds, but I had to create enough chaos to save my life. Catherine was going to poison me tonight." Detective Martinez looked at Marcus. "And you have video evidence of Ms. Walsh threatening Miss Sterling with poison?" "Everything's on the security cameras," Marcus confirmed. "Catherine's threats, the bottle of poison, the struggle at the top of the stairs. It's all recorded." Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. "Detective, my client wants it on record that Miss Sterling's accusation against her father was made under extreme duress and is completely false. She was in fear for her life." "We understand that," Detective Martinez said. "But Mr. Henderson, you need to understand that this accusation was made in front of 12 witnesses, several of whom recorded it on their phones. Those videos are already spreading on social media. The damage to your client's reputation may be irreversible." Emma felt sick. She had saved her father's life, but she might have destroyed everything else he cared about. "Where's my father now?" Emma asked. "He's in another room, being questioned about his business activities," Detective Martinez said gently. "The documents you provided have opened up several criminal investigations. I'm afraid Mr. Sterling is in serious legal trouble." Emma closed her eyes. By trying to save her father, she had exposed his crimes and guaranteed he would face justice for them. There was no scenario where this ended well for anyone. "Can I see him?" Detective Martinez looked at Mr. Henderson, who nodded reluctantly. 5 minutes. That's all we can allow right now." Richard Sterling looked like he had aged 10 years in the past 6 hours. His perfect hair was messy, his expensive suit was wrinkled, and his ice-blue eyes were filled with something Emma had never seen before: complete defeat. "Dad," Emma said quietly as she entered the room. Richard looked up at her, and for a moment, Emma thought she saw relief in his eyes. But then his expression hardened. "How could you do this to me, Emma? How could you say something so horrible in front of all those people?" Emma felt tears building up, but she forced them back. "Dad, I was trying to save your life. By destroying my reputation? By making everyone think I'm some kind of monster who would hurt his own daughter. Catherine was going to kill you, just like she killed Mom." Richard's face went white. "What are you talking about?" Emma told him everything about the safe deposit box, the documents, the evidence that Catherine was a professional killer who had murdered multiple husbands. As she talked, Richard's expression changed from anger to disbelief to horror. "Sarah was investigating me?" he whispered. "She was trying to protect you, Dad. She knew you were in over your head with dangerous people, and she was gathering evidence to help you get out safely." Richard put his head in his hands. "God, Emma, what have I done? Your mother tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. You tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. I almost married the woman who killed the love of my life." Emma sat down across from her father, seeing him clearly for the first time in years. He wasn't the cold, distant businessman she'd grown to resent. He was just a man who had made terrible choices and was finally facing the consequences. "Dad, we can get through this together." Richard looked up at her with tears in his eyes. "Emma, I'm going to prison. The evidence your mother gathered, it's enough to convict me of dozens of crimes. I'll be lucky if I get out before you're 30. Then we'll figure it out. I'll wait for you. I'll visit you every week. We're family, Dad. That's what family does." Richard reached across the table and took Emma's hand, the first time he had voluntarily touched her in months. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you about Catherine. I'm sorry I didn't protect you from any of this. I'm sorry I've been such a terrible father." Emma squeezed his hand. "You're not terrible, Dad. You made mistakes, but you're not terrible. Emma, there's something else you need to know. About the accusation you made." Emma's heart stopped. "What about it?" "Even though it's not true, people are going to believe it. My business associates, the media, everyone who heard it. Your name is going to be connected to this scandal forever." Emma had been so focused on stopping Catherine that she hadn't really thought about the long-term consequences for herself. Now she realized that her desperate lie would follow her for the rest of her life. "I know," she said quietly, "but I'd rather live with a ruined reputation than live without you." Richard started crying then, deep, painful sobs that seemed to come from somewhere he'd kept locked away since Emma's mother died. "I love you so much, Emma. I know I haven't shown it, but you are the most important thing in my life. More important than money, more important than business, more important than anything. I love you too, Dad." They held hands across the table, father and daughter, finally honest with each other for the first time in years. It had taken a crisis to bring them together, but at least they had found each other again, even if it might be too late to save either of them. The next morning, the story was on every news channel in the country. "Billionaire's daughter makes shocking accusation," ran as a banner across CNN. "Sterling family scandal rocks business world," was the headline in the Wall Street Journal. Emma watched the coverage from the police station's waiting room, where she was staying under protective custody until Catherine's associates could be rounded up. The videos from the dinner party had indeed gone viral, and the whole world now believed that Richard Sterling was guilty of the horrible crime his daughter had accused him of. Even worse, the media had dug up all of Emma's personal information. Her school photo was on every news website. Reporters were calling her friends, her teachers, anyone who had ever known her. Her private life was being dissected by strangers who wanted to understand how a billionaire's daughter could make such a devastating accusation. "The good news," Detective Martinez told Emma, "is that Catherine Walsh has confessed to everything. The murders, the plan to kill your father, even ordering the car accident that killed your mother. She's going to prison for life." Emma felt a mix of relief and sadness. Justice for her mother, safety for her father, but at such a terrible cost. What about my father? He's cooperating fully with our investigation into his business activities. His lawyer is working on a plea deal. He'll definitely serve time, but probably not as much as he would have if he'd fought the charges. Emma nodded. At least her father would be alive to serve that time. Mr. Henderson appeared in the doorway. Emma, we need to discuss your future. With your father facing criminal charges and likely imprisonment, arrangements need to be made for your care. What kind of arrangements? Well, you're 17, so you'll need a legal guardian until you turn 18. Do you have any relatives who might be willing to take you in? Emma thought about it. Her father was an only child, and her mother's sister lived in Oregon and barely knew Emma. She would be just another burden to relatives who had their own lives to worry about. What if I don't want to live with relatives? There are other options. Foster care, group homes for teens, boarding school if the family finances allow it. Emma felt panic rising in her chest. After everything she'd been through, after saving her father's life and exposing Catherine's crimes, she was going to end up alone anyway. Actually, a familiar voice said from the doorway, I might have another suggestion. It was Maria, still wearing her work clothes, looking tired but determined. I've been caring for Emma since she was 5 years old, Maria continued. If the court would allow it, I'd be honored to be her legal guardian until she turns 18. Emma felt tears of relief and gratitude. Maria, you would do that for me? Mija, you are like my own daughter. Of course I would do that for you. Mr. Henderson looked surprised but pleased. That actually might work. Ms. Rivera, you've been employed by the Sterling family for how long? 12 years. I have excellent references, a clean background check, and my own home WH. Emma looked at Maria, really looked at her, and realized that this woman had been the closest thing to a mother she'd had since she was 5 years old. Maria had bandaged her scraped knees, helped with homework, listened to her problems, and loved her unconditionally. Maybe losing everything else meant finding the family that had been there all along. 2 months later, Emma Sterling, now living as Emma Rivera in Maria's small but cozy house, sat in the witness box at Catherine Walsh's murder trial. The courtroom was packed with reporters, curious spectators, and Catherine's victims' family members who had finally gotten their chance at justice. Catherine sat at the defendant's table, no longer the beautiful, charming woman who had almost become Emma's stepmother. Prison had stripped away her polish, revealing the cold killer underneath. She stared at Emma with pure hatred, but Emma stared right back without flinching. Miss Sterling, the prosecutor said, can you tell the court what happened on the night you made your accusation against your father? Emma had told this story dozens of times now, but it never got easier. She explained about the investigation, the evidence, the trap they had set, and Catherine's confession to murdering Emma's mother. And why did you choose to make that particular accusation against your father? Emma looked out at the packed courtroom, knowing that her words would be broadcast around the world. Because I knew it would create enough shock and chaos to save my life. I knew it would bring people running, and I knew Catherine wouldn't be able to hurt me with so many witnesses around. I also knew, Emma's voice broke slightly, I knew it would destroy my father's reputation forever, but I thought his life was more important than his reputation. Do you regret making that accusation? Emma thought about it carefully. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that it hurt my father and caused so much pain for our family. But if I had to do it again to save his life, I would. Catherine's lawyer tried to make Emma look like a troubled teenager who had made everything up, but the evidence was overwhelming. The poison Catherine had threatened Emma with was confirmed to be a deadly toxin. The hidden camera footage showed Catherine confessing to multiple murders. And Catherine's own confession to the police had sealed her fate. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours before finding Catherine Walsh guilty on all counts. 4 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As Catherine was led away in shackles, She turned to look at Emma one last time. Emma expected to see hatred or threats, but instead she saw something that surprised her: respect. Catherine nodded slightly, like she was acknowledging that Emma had been a worthy opponent. Then she was gone, and Emma would never see her again. 6 months later, Emma sat in the visiting room at Federal Correctional Institution Oakdale, waiting for her father to appear behind the bulletproof glass. She made this trip every month, taking a bus from Louisiana to Texas, spending her saved allowance money on travel expenses. Richard Sterling looked different in his orange prison uniform. Smaller somehow, more human. Prison had stripped away his arrogance and left behind someone Emma was finally able to love without reservation. "How's school?" Richard asked through the phone that connected them across the glass barrier. "Good. I like my new school better than the old one. People treat me like a normal person instead of like a walking dollar sign." Emma was finishing her senior year at a public high school in Maria's neighborhood. It was a completely different world from the elite private academy she'd attended before, but she was happier than she'd been in years. "And Maria? Is she taking good care of you?" "Dad, Maria has been taking good care of me for 12 years. She's the best guardian I could ask for." Richard smiled sadly. "I should have seen that. I should have seen a lot of things." They were quiet for a moment, comfortable with each other in a way they'd never been when Richard was free. "Emma, I need to tell you something important. I've been working with the FBI to help them take down the criminal organization I was involved with. It's dangerous work, but it's the right thing to do." Emma felt proud and scared at the same time. "Are you safe?" "Safe enough. And because of my cooperation, my sentence has been reduced. I'll be eligible for parole in 8 years instead of 20. 8 years still seemed like forever to Emma, but it was better than 20. "Dad, do you ever regret that I made that accusation? Do you ever wish I had found another way?" Richard looked at his daughter through the glass. This brave, brilliant girl who had saved his life at the cost of her own reputation. "Emma, you did what you had to do to protect your family. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it was embarrassing and painful and hard to explain. But you saved my life. You stopped a killer. You brought justice for your mother's death. I could never regret any of that. But people still believe it happened. They always will. Then let them believe it. The people who matter, you, me, Maria, Marcus, we know the truth. That's all that matters." Emma felt a weight she'd been carrying for months finally lift from her shoulders. Her father understood. He forgave her. He was proud of her. "I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. More than you'll ever know." 1 year later, Emma stood on the stage at her high school graduation, looking out at the small crowd of people who had come to watch her receive her diploma. Maria sat in the front row, crying happy tears and taking pictures with an old camera. Marcus was there too, along with a few classmates who had become real friends, the kind who liked Emma for who she was, not what her last name used to be worth. Emma's story had become famous around the world, but not in the way she'd expected. Instead of being seen as a troubled teenager who had made horrible accusations, Emma had become a symbol of courage and family loyalty. Books had been written about her case. TV movies had been made. She'd been invited to speak at conferences about recognizing dangerous relationships. But Emma had turned down all the interview requests, all the book deals, all the opportunities to profit from her family's tragedy. She just wanted to finish school, go to college, and build a normal life. When they called her name, Emma walked across the stage and accepted her diploma from the principal. As the crowd clapped, she thought about everything that had led to this moment. Her mother's death, which had taught her that life was fragile and precious. Her father's mistakes, which had taught her that even good people could make terrible choices. Catherine's evil, which had taught her that some people were truly dangerous and had to be stopped. Her own desperate lie, which had taught her that sometimes doing the right thing meant making horrible sacrifices. After the ceremony, Emma found a quiet moment to call her father at the prison. "I graduated," she told him. "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. Tell me everything." Emma described the ceremony, the speech the valedictorian had given about overcoming adversity, the way Maria had cried when Emma's name was called. "What's next for you?" Richard asked. College in the fall. I got into Louisiana State University with a full scholarship. I'm going to study criminal justice. Richard was quiet for a moment. Like your mother would have wanted. Yeah, I want to help other families like ours. Families who are being targeted by people like Catherine. The FBI would be lucky to have someone like you. Emma smiled. We'll see. Right now, I just want to be a normal college student for a while. Emma, I need to tell you something. The parole board reviewed my case again because of my continued cooperation. I might be eligible for release in just 3 more years. Emma felt her heart leap. Really? Really? And when I get out, I want to make up for all the time we lost. I want to be the father you deserved all along. You already are, Dad. Prison has made you more of a father to me than you ever were when you were free. It was true. Over the past year of monthly visits, phone calls, and letters, Emma and Richard had finally learned how to talk to each other. They shared their fears, their hopes, their memories of Sarah Sterling. They had become a real family, even separated by prison walls. I have to go, Richard said. But Emma? Yeah. Thank you. For saving my life, for standing by me, for being braver than any 17-year-old should ever have to be. Your mother would be so proud of the woman you've become. After Emma hung up the phone, she sat in Maria's car in the school parking lot, watching her classmates celebrate with their families. A year ago, she had been the lonely daughter of a billionaire, living in a mansion but feeling empty inside. Now she was the grateful daughter of a convicted felon and a housekeeper, living in a small house but feeling more loved than ever. Maria knocked on the car window. Mija, are you ready to go home and celebrate? Emma looked at Maria. This woman who had given up her quiet retirement to take in a scandal-ridden teenager, who had loved Emma unconditionally through the worst year of her life, who had shown Emma what real family looked like. Yeah, Emma said, getting out of the car. Let's go home. As they drove through the streets of their modest neighborhood, past houses where normal families lived normal lives, Emma thought about the lie that had saved her father's life but changed everything else. She would probably never be able to completely escape the scandal. There would always be people who remembered the billionaire's daughter who accused her father of the unthinkable. There would always be whispers, speculation, and judgment from strangers who thought they knew her story. But Emma had learned something important over the past year. The truth mattered more than what people believed. Love mattered more than reputation. Family mattered more than money. And sometimes, the biggest lie you ever tell can be the most honest thing you ever do. 3 years from now, when her father was released from prison, they would have a chance to build something new together. Not the broken relationship of a distant billionaire and his neglected daughter, but the strong bond of 2 people who had survived the worst and found their way back to each other. Until then, Emma had Maria, she had her education, and she had the knowledge that she had done the right thing, even when it was the hardest thing. Catherine Walsh would spend the rest of her life behind bars, where she could never hurt another family. Richard Sterling would serve his time and hopefully emerge as a better man. And Emma Sterling, now Emma Rivera, would continue growing into the strong, brave woman her mother had always known she could become. The accusation that had shocked the world had been a lie, but the love that motivated it had been the truest thing of all. In the end, Emma's desperate lie saved her father's life and brought justice for her mother's murder, but at a cost that will follow her forever. Sometimes the most shocking accusations come not from hatred, but from love so fierce that it's willing to sacrifice everything, even the truth itself, to protect the people who matter most. The Sterling family scandal became one of the most famous cases in modern history, but for Emma, it was simply the story of how far she was willing to go to save the only family she had left. And in losing everything she thought mattered, she discovered what actually did.